Hey guys, so I just was watching a video on YouTube. This guy sitting behind this white girl just gets up and stabs the girl. The girl puts her hand to her face and she starts crying. And she proceeds to die right there on the spot, right? Okay, that's interesting. Do you know why this is happening? Here's why this is because it's happening in the people who are doing this, black, unfortunately, in a lot of these situations. They're not getting the penalty that I believe they deserve because they're black. And society is on this whole, let's shame and make white people, the bad guys thing. And society has been on this for a while. Listen, guys, this isn't about Donald Trump. This isn't about Biden or anything like that. Here's what I will say. These people, white and black, who supported BLM, critical race theory, and what's the other thing called? Diversity, equity, and inclusion. They are largely responsible for this. You can call that me making a political statement, call it whatever you want. But there's a reason I never got behind any of that stuff being black. It has nothing to do with I support Donald Trump. It has everything to do with the fact that I saw that if you support people going and rioting and doing all this crazy stuff with no consequence, this would be the result, guys. This would be the result. And so it is just so sad to watch that happen in broad daylight and no one really do anything to try to help that girl. I mean, that is just, man. And it sucks because, as a black person, here's what's fascinating. BLM, critical race theory, all these things were supposed to be helping black people. But do you know what's really crazy? At this point of my life, I find it the hardest to be a black person. Not because of racism, but because this is the garbage that black people are out there doing. What the heck, bro? Like, you understand that my wife, who is white, can't travel on a subway train? There is no way in God's green earth I'm allowing her to do that. Guys, what are we doing right now, man? I preached a sermon in church not too long ago. That sermon was deleted from online because the church had a problem with it. And in the message, the message was called Take Heed, and I was bringing out things that the devil uses to keep us from focusing on doctrine and understanding the Bible as we should. One of the things I brought out was that the devil uses social justice movements and politics in order to keep us from talking about issues that need to be talked about. And I'm not saying that we need to talk about political things, but we should be allowed to address critical errors of political and social justice movements without it being something about politics, because the devil knows for example, the whole Pride movement, he knows all he has to do is make this a matter of policy and politics, and now Christians are afraid to talk about homosexuality. Well, this critical race theory stuff, this Black Lives Matter stuff, what this stuff did, it basically said, hey, black people, you guys are the victims. This bad stuff has happened to you, and now you're justified in doing whatever you want, practically. That's a part of what it said. In the message, I said, hey, listen, we should be telling people, instead of focusing on critical race theory, they should focus on critical Jesus facts, is one of the things I said. You could say that that's cheesy, say whatever it is that you want to say about it. That's the reality. We should be focusing on Jesus, because ultimately, if we focus on Jesus, he will lift all of us out of the degradation that slavery brought, because it wasn't just black people that were affected by slavery, it was white people that were affected by slavery too, right? Mentally. And so by focusing on Jesus, he would cleanse our minds from all the filth of this world. Instead, we got church members supporting BLM, CRT, and all this stuff. And I'm just like, guys, for crying out loud, don't you see how this is making America more racist? As a black man, I could look at that stuff and say, well, if I was a white man, I would really hunker down on racism. I would actively become more racist because this is how they're saying white people should be treated because of how they treated black people in the past. All of us know you don't fight fire with fire, dude. Jesus said, my kingdom is not of this world. If it were of this world, I would come fighting with sword and spear. But you have his people saying, yeah, BLM, and supporting this crazy behavior. And now we got black people walking up to people on subways, stabbing them. Man, that is just absolutely, it is shameful. As a black person, believe me, my confidence is in Jesus. My confidence is not in my skin color. It's not in my mental faculties. It's in none of that stuff. My confidence is in Jesus. He died for my sins. He saw his life he saw my life as valuable enough that he would lay his infinite life down in my behalf. That is where my value and my worth is. But the temptation is to be completely ashamed of being black because of how these black people are out there acting now. Walking up to a white person and stabbing them for being white is satanic, okay? There's no place for it. There's no place for supporting any of it. Oh, this is just a retaliation as a result of racism of the past. Get that trash out of here, guys. Again, we got to be so careful what we support. The things that we support. If there's even a speck of Satanism in it, we should leave it alone. That's my philosophy. If there's a speck of satanic stuff in there, we should leave it alone. And I'm telling you, from the jump. And so, it's unfortunate, but all these white people, you brought this on yourself. Now you can't walk in certain places. As a matter of fact, I guarantee you, people might actually come to where the white people are because they know that these white BLM supporters are all about black people doing whatever they want. And don't be surprised there's an uptick in this stuff happening. Insane, guys. Insane. Focus on Jesus, guys. Get to know God. Let your identity be in Christ. And stop running behind these movements. You can join whatever movement you want. There's no law against it. But be very careful that the movement that you're joining isn't leading you astray and making the world worse. Because I guarantee you, white people and black people supporting CRT, BLM, and DEI has made the world a more dangerous place. This isn't politics. This is facts. I don't support Donald Trump. I don't support the left. Okay? This is just the facts of life. Because we haven't focused on Jesus and we ran screaming BLM, screaming CRT, screaming DEI, America is more cooked than it was before we started this stuff. So, that's it for me, guys.